it's probably one of the more challenging things I've done. I mean, leading troops in combat, you try and plan for the worst, and you try and embrace the fog of war. Well, you can't really fly by the seat of your pants when you're doing your rehab. My name's Sergeant Tim Norton. Started CrossFit probably about 2 years ago. I was getting ready for selection, and worked wonders for me. And then after I got hurt in May of 2008, I was trying to figure out how to implement CrossFit back into my life. And Brian Ipot, who I met over at CFI, Center for the Intrepid, said he had a seminar going on. When I started therapy back up after coming off con leave, I was telling my therapist, I can't believe it took me 2 weeks to get to the point where I felt like I was doing 2-a-day football practices anymore. You're just so sore in the morning, it's like, crap. But it's the old adage, you ain't got to love it or like it, you just got to do it. And the only way to get out of rehab is to get bigger and stronger. You got to keep pushing yourself. You never take anything for granted. You could have, highs and lows throughout the day, let alone throughout the week. And you just try and measure, like with the rowing machine and how long I can walk, stay on it consecutively and walk. My goal right now is to do 2 hours straight. You just try and keep building on that foundation that you lay down, and that's one of the things that interested me when a buddy of mine, a fellow soldier, introduced me to the CrossFit craze a couple of years ago. He's like, you're gonna, you're a goal-driven guy, and you're all about pushing yourself. This is perfect for you. It's a high-intensity workout, just like in our therapy. You try not to linger. You try not to, like some of the soldiers, they'll get a little verbal diarrhea and want to tell stories to each other, and it just takes away from their time. The heart rate gets down. They start to cool down. Well, then they're going to cause injuries. CrossFit, you can't. There is no time out. You shake it off, move the lactic acid a little bit, and then you get back on it. And it's the same deal with your therapy. You have to have the same mindset. Or when you're assaulting a house and doing a room clear, you're going to get dinged up. You get in a fight, you're going to get hurt. But the deal is, you want to be able to pick yourself back up and move out on your own, as opposed to being there and waiting somebody else come and pick you up. And it's the same deal with rehab or anything else in life.
I hope that there are good PTs out there. I hope that there are people who are just trying to reclaim range of motion for these guys. We're going beyond that, and it's something Coach called rehabilitation with revenge, and I love that. It's not only am I getting better, am I getting the ROM, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting better at what I'm doing. And again, I'll go back to that psychological aspect, because it's really where it's at for me. CrossFit makes you believe you can do things, and if we're putting them at high intensity, I know we're going to get a better hormonal response. I know we're going to get range of motion faster if we're pushing for it. And if we get them stronger in their heads, believing I can do this, it doesn't become a big deal to go to the grocery store and get the groceries out to the car. It doesn't become a big deal to pick up your nephew or whatever. That the life stuff becomes a little more trivial, I hope, when you're pushing that hard in the gym. So rehab with revenge, man. Get those minds strong and those bodies.
And it's not that the military establishment or the healthcare establishment is doing these athletes a disservice. It's just that we may have a different approach that complements what's already being done. And the part of a responsibility of education is passing it along and inspiring other people to try to pursue that, because what's working, the status quo, really is working okay, but it's not working as well as it should. If we were to look at a sickness, wellness, fitness continuum, the status quo is really focused on wellness. We want to kind of take that beyond into a level and a realm of fitness. And fitness for these guys in many ways is going to be a lifesaver, as it is for all of us. So I think that's kind of what we're doing, trying to help our fellow man. And whether that's being a practitioner of elite human performance, it's being practitioners of helping these guys get their confidence back and help them regain some lost capacities.
When you look at it and you get injured severely, traumatically injured, there's a lot of things like, oh, I'll never be able to do that again. But there's always something you can do to replace that and keep going. And you fight a lot of personal demons when you get hurt really badly. Just the way your outlook on life changes a bit. The way you see other people, and you sort of, it's almost cynical in nature, the way you view certain things. But being able to get in there and hit it as hard as you used to, and you might not be doing the same things, but trust me, you're hitting it hard. It just changes your outlook, and it's a great feeling when you're done. You're like, hell yeah, I did that again. I left it all out there.
I was a pretty driven guy to begin with. I mean, I've had a break in service. I did 10 years with the Corps, and then got out, started, learned to trade, carpentry trade, and then bought into the company. I walked away from a job paying me six figures to go and make, $18,000 a year as a 34-year-old E1 when I left the Marine Corps as a staff sergeant. So, I mean, and some of the younger guys, I could probably see them making the analogy, but for me, the CrossFit was just another tool to push myself, to find out, what my capabilities and my limitations are. You never know until you push that envelope. I lost two friends in the tower, and in addition to us, we lost 300,000 or 3,000 plus Americans in one day. Pearl Harbor, we lost 2,600. Most of them were military personnel. So I was like, I'm not sitting on the sideline. And to go from being a staff sergeant to an E1, that was kind of a culture shock. Let alone going from one branch of the military to the other. So that was a big driving factor with me. My first tour was all about payback, and then the tour since was, how do I pass on what I learned and what was taught to me by the old Vietnam vets in the 80s to the young guys, and give them a chance. You never make the promise that I'll bring everybody home. You make the promise you don't leave them behind. Too much, as in life, it's a roller coaster ride. Too much can go wrong sometimes, and the big deal is to keep a cool head, keep your wits about you. And CrossFit, whether it's CrossFit or playing basketball or football or whatever, that's one of the things. You have that goal, you set it, and accomplish the mission.